being joined this morning by former NBA head coach, NC State great, Nate McMillan joining us on this morning show. Good morning, Nate. How you doing?
I'm doing great. First, I want to say Nate McMillan has never taken a lady's seat, and
well, if you stand up, they won't be able to see you on that camera.
Tell me to take her seat.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right.
Yeah. So see,
I'm doing great.
Great.
Man, I'm so happy to have you here. I mean, just incredible to have you here to talk about something that's extremely important. And when you and I talked about it, and shout out to Charles Harrison who connected us together, it was just made so much sense. You're here to talk about a big event, and I love the title of it, Bringing Back the Black Father.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the impetus? And it's a lot of it. We talk about it every day. K-Mate and Pam talk about it every day. What was the impetus in terms of you trying to put together a gala to focus on bringing back the Black Father?
Well, when they gave me some time off a couple of months ago. Raleigh has always been home for me, and I've always said when things are over for me that I would come back home and retire here. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm saying I'm in retirement.
No, we're gonna talk about that a little later.
I do have some time, and I just saw an issue that's happening all over the country, the lack of black fathers in the household. I was one of those kids that didn't have a father. I've never seen my father, never had a relationship with my father or his family. But I was able to survive from an older brother who took on that role. And I know the importance of a father figure being in a household, and stepfathers, fathers in our community. And, one of the things that I wanted to do when talking to one of my friends here was to not sound the alarm, because the alarm has been sounded. Ring the bell.
Sure.
We got to wake up. And I think the black male, the father figures have to wake up. 70% of black families in this country are without a father in the house. Wow. And that is
that's incredible.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
When you think about that, 70% of our families are, or the kids, the young males and females, are being raised without a father in the household. And that number, I think when I was growing up and coming up in the 70s and the 80s, I think that number was around 60%. So we're creeping up. We're going in the wrong direction. Far as the lack of fathers that's in the household. So I wanted to put on an event to bring attention to, some of the brothers that are doing some good work in our communities. And when I talk about the fathers, I'm not just talking about the fathers in the household, but I'm talking about the fathers that are out in our communities.
Sure.
We have to, when we have an issue like this in our community, it's everybody's business. And we have to get involved.
Yes.
And help out and reach back, as they say, to these young brothers that need some guidance. They need some leadership. They need some mentors. And I wanted to put together a gala, a dinner that will recognize some of the people. It's a lot of guys in this community that's doing really good work. And we wanted to recognize a few of those guys this year in the first annual Bring Back the Black Fathers Gala. And next year we'll recognize some other guys that are not only doing it in their household, but they are doing it in the communities.
Sure.
And I think that's important in the sense that I didn't have that father, so I was looking at my coaches. I was looking at my teachers.
Sure.
I was looking at other fathers or other men in the communities, in the community that I would. Freddie Hicks was a guy who was the director of Parks and Recreation, and at that time he was like Dr. Huxtable, for us. But he was a guy that I had a great deal of respect for. He had a beautiful wife, beautiful family, and he would come to the park every day with his briefcase. I'm like, man, I would like to be like that.
Wow,
I want to have something like that.
Yeah.
So those are the guys I want to really sound the bell on us as black men, that not only do we have to do it in our homes, but we need to get out and get involved in our communities.
I agree big time.
Outstanding. We're talking with Raleigh native and NBA, former NBA player, NBA coach, and we're talking about a significant event that you have coming up, the Black Fathers Gala, and you just talked about sounding the alarm or ringing the bell and getting people to wake up. If you had to say, like, for people that think they understand, think they really get it, they have a grasp on what's going on, if you had to give them an example of why this really, really matters, what would that one be?
It's just, I think our young guys and our young black males, and those are the guys I'm really focusing on. So the dinner, we're going to have over 100 young black males, and really I'm focusing on ages from 14 to about 21. Because that's when we start to think about having families, and we start to look at women a little different.
Yeah.
And I think right now that I don't know if our young brothers are even thinking about families.
No,
I don't think they want that responsibility, and I think we have to do something about that. When I grew up, I dreamed of having a family and having a home and having a car and all of that type stuff, and going on vacation and raising my family. But I think the young men today, they don't want that responsibility, and we are not reproducing. With abortions happening, with kids not wanting to have that responsibility of raising a kid. I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah,
it's tough to do.
Yeah,
it's really tough to do. But we're not reproducing.
Yeah, I think you probably hit it on the head. I think there's a mindset that says, I don't want that added. I don't want that responsibility. Yeah. Regardless if it's young ladies or young men, it's right now they're not looking at. They don't want the responsibility of a family.
Yeah, because it's tough. It's expensive to raise a family, and so some are saying, "Look, I'm just not ready for it. I can't afford it."
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. But we're not. I don't think that we're dreaming. I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and my son just gave me my first grandchild, and so Micah will be 3 this coming July, but my son didn't. Have a kid until he was 31. I have a daughter that's 31 that still doesn't have a kid, and that's okay. I mean, if that's what you want to do and direction you want to go, that that's okay. But I just think that the beauty of having a family and raising a kid and being there for that kid. As I said, I was a fatherless kid. I said to myself, if I ever have kids, I would never leave my kids.
Awesome.
I would never leave my kids, even if the mother and I separated. I'm going to be involved in my kid's life,
right.
And fortunately, I've been able to be with the same lady for the last 37 years, the mother of my kids, and I thought as I told my son, the most beautiful thing was this weekend when we drove back to Atlanta so that she could be with her boys for Mother's Day. Yeah. And, she had my son and my grandson, and she had her and Big Daddy here. So, and she,
if you got to add yourself,
got to put it in there.
She talked about that, and just a tear in her eye was like, thank you for doing that, because I had a lot of things I needed to do here in Raleigh, but I was like, look, I'm going to drive you back down there so you can be with your son on Mother's Day and your grandson. And she was just so appreciative of that. But this was something that we planned a long time ago. I wanted to have kids. I had my son when I was 23. My wife and I were both 23 at the time. We had our first child. And by 26, 27, we had our second child. And I wanted to be able to hang out with my kids.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But that's great. That's being present is so important. And so we are excited to have NBA player, former head coach Nate McMillan here with us today, passionate about an event that he's bringing home. This is home for you, bringing back the Black Fathers Gala. So this is a call to action for fathers, uncles, brothers, mentors. So can you tell us quickly like how they can get involved, and also, where is the event and what's the date?
Well, it's going to be Saturday, June the 17th at 6 o'clock at Briar Creek Country Club. It's semi-formal. You can go online to eventbrite.com and, just search for Bring Back the Black Father, and it will give you all the information as far as, purchasing a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
We're still looking for sponsorship and some donations for that. I've had a lot of people to donate even though they can't be there, but they're donating for some young black men to sit at the table. And we'll have speakers and again, people locally, a group of young men. We got 10, 11 guys that we're going to recognize that you will know some of them. You have to come to the event.
Okay, you come to the event. Hey, Coach, we getting up against it, so we're going to kind of fast forward a little bit. I mean, you here, and we said former NBA coach, which that still shocks me a little bit to know that. But in particular, there's a lot of jobs out there. But the Atlanta situation, can you talk real quickly about how did that kind of pan out in terms of? I'm hearing Trae Young. I'm hearing a lot of noise in the background about the relationship between coaches and players. Talk about that real quickly if you can.
Well, it's difficult. I mean, it's not difficult. We are teachers as coaches, and the thing that we have to do, as I tell my players, there's nobody in this room wants to win more than I do. Not a person in the room wants to win more than that coach, because we know that our jobs are on the line. In the sense of the players, organizations are going to always favor the player over the coach.
Okay.
Because you can, he's expendable. I mean, you can. You can move him in a heartbeat.
Right.
And that player is a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
And you have a lot more money, wrapped up in
the players. As a coach, yeah.
In the sense of, these players now, you got $100 million, $200 million wrapped up into these players. So, and we as coaches, we know that.
Yeah.
The challenge, I think, for especially, I would say black coaches, is challenging another black individual. And I think you're seeing it in our community.
We don't have no time. We gotta hash that one.
We gotta get you back on that one,
Coach. We up against. Go ahead, K-Man, but we gotta talk about that one though.
Man, Coach, it's been an honor having you on.
Yes.
Can't wait to come out. Was it June 17th?
Yeah.
June 17th at Briar Creek Country Club.
At Briar Creek Country Club. Go to eventbrite.com. Look up the event. Make sure you guys come out. Make sure you come out and support.
Golf's second major will be found on 99.9 The Fan. Listen for coverage all week long of the 105th PGA Championship from Oak Hill and Rochester, New York. Find out if Justin Thomas can repeat or if a new champion emerges. Depend on us for constant leaderboard updates and every big moment through the presentation of the Wanamaker Trophy. The PGA Championship on 99.9 The Fan is teed up by Leesville Tap Room, just off I-540